All right, and welcome to TNM Unplugged, the space where you elevate your soul, your heart, and your mind to the next level of yourself. And backed with the popular demand, we have on our channel once again Stephanie Canavesio. A lot of you have sent me beautiful messages after listening to our first recording, and they've asked us to direct you to the Stephanie's channel, which we did. And I'm going to do the same in the description of this podcast as well. And it was also heartwarming to see how many of you have really benefited from listening to this podcast. So I'm really grateful once again today to have Stephanie with me. And today we're going to talk about a very important topic of meditation. And what is the meditation for? Why is meditation important? How can you practice more meditation? What will be the overall benefit for your life at this moment in time? So, Stephanie, welcome back. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you, Zoran. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me back. And thank you to the
Yeah, the people really touched with our first recording. They were like, yes. So it's really nice. So let's start with meditation. You and I in prep, we talked a little bit. Why do we believe meditation is super important for people, to practice, to be in relationship with? What is this from your perspective?
So from a very simple way to explain is meditation is, from the way I've been taught, particular mind training. So learning to train the mind to stay, to not inhabit the mind, to not live continually in the thinking mind and in all of the narratives that we create for ourselves and actually that don't really serve us. We are not our thoughts. But when we live too connected and too aligned to our thinking mind, we begin to believe that there is just that's happening. So why meditation is so important is because it really is an entry point. It's like this portal into our feeling body, into our senses, into our own presence. And as useful as thoughts can be, and we do need our mind, we love our mind, it's understanding not for it to be our master, not for us to be controlled by it, because so often, 3/4 of the time, our mind is going into the past or into the future and reliving stories and repeating self-limiting beliefs about ourselves that are simply not true, but that we take as truth. So the idea is turning down the volume of the thoughts so that we can step into our present moment self with all of our gifts and strengths, and to begin to sift through what is true and what isn't true for us.
Right. And for a lot of people who are new to meditation practices, one of the biggest challenges is actually to quiet that mind, to quiet the thinking mind, so that we can really begin feeling and tuning into ourselves. And I know when I coach people, when I talk to them and I recommend meditation, and I even give meditation practices to them, that's the major first challenge. It's like a threshold that somebody needs to go through in order to be able to practice it on a deeper level. So what is your take on that? What do we require or need to be able to go beyond the thinking mind and quiet down the thinking mind and be in a space of stillness so that you can really feel yourself and feel the universe through the practice of meditation?
There is a moment when you let go of the thinking mind. There is a moment when you let go of the mind where you wonder, what am I supposed to do now if I'm not attaching to my thoughts? There's this, it can feel like an abyss sometimes because we're so addicted to stimulation. We're so addicted to always having outside the external giving us information. So when we
Right.
turn the gaze inwards and we begin to tune into our own the sensations in our body, the emotions, it takes some time to connect. It takes some time to trust that part of you that is uh, beyond the thinking mind.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge. It's definitely very hard for some people, but it isn't about stopping the thoughts. It's about understanding that they're there, but that you don't necessarily have to uh, listen to those thoughts, that you
Yeah.
can listen to something deeper that is resonating within you.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that us not identifying with our thoughts, it's really important because, some of the people they've been trained by the educational system to say to ourselves, I think, therefore I exist. So instead of me identifying with the deeper space of my consciousness, which is something in my soul, I'm identifying myself with my thinking processes. And if I stop thinking, what will happen with me? Who am I then? Right. So,
It's a very scary moment. I was someone who lived completely in the mind.
mhm,
I suffered from a lot of anxiety, a tremendous amount of fear most of my life. I numbed myself from when I was 13 until I was 35, basically, um, trying to stop the voices, trying to quiet the voices with alcohol and drugs and um, eating disorder. I did everything to try to run away.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
when I
from it.
finally began to learn techniques and skills to befriend my mind and
Mhm,
to understand that it's just parts of me that want to protect me. And at one point in my life, those beliefs helped me survive as a
right.
child.
Yes.
And so there is a moment where you just have to trust that without those thoughts, and if you can really just surrender to the present moment
Hmm.
and not, stay continually attached to that stream of thoughts,
Hmm.
that there's this whole other world. It's called your presence that
Hmm.
awakens. And there's this sense of liberation. And it's really like, wow, it took me this long to figure this out? But
Hmm.
it really is very liberating when you stop uh, being so attached to the thoughts. And with practice, every day, there is a moment, you have to work. There is some effort that's involved in discipline. Uh, those those thoughts quiet down considerably to almost nothing, and then you just feel, you know, more aware, and you trust in that, and that's
Yeah.
surrender, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And for me, what worked in my practices, especially at the beginning when I was learning how to meditate, was to observe my thoughts, to kind of claim that space of observer and to be curious around what really happens there and to befriend my thoughts as well. And also to see that some of the thoughts were mine, but some of the thoughts were not mine at all. Some of the thoughts just dropped into my consciousness from a collective. So I was like,
Totally.
wow, that's so interesting. This is not me thinking, this is collective thinking, right? It's not only so I was like, wow, look at that. And I remember one of my first meditation teachers taught me to observe, to see my thoughts as the clouds moving through the sky and to just observe them, keep on observing them. Don't energize them, don't give them too much attention. Just observe until they clear up. And then you can deepen into that space of presence and resonance you're talking about, right?
Yeah, and understanding that we all have a lot of different voices in our head. There's a committee, and it could be your inner critic, the one
Yeah,
that's judging, oh, why'd you do that? How did you say that? Oh, you look stupid when you said that. Or
yeah,
you can hear the voice of a parent that's saying, I can't believe you're, doing that or that. Or there's the protector. I love the internal family systems, IFS.
Yes.
I love the way that he breaks down all of the different voices that we have, and they all had their purpose.
Yeah.
But it's learning how to integrate them and to understand, to create a relationship with them and a friendship, and to allow for them to be there instead of, walling them off or numbing them or just ignoring them. There's so many different ways that we've learned, instead of just accepting,
Yeah.
okay, that's a part of me, and I can express some compassion towards that part of me
Yeah.
that wants to keep me safe.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is moment to moment practice. The meditation begins on the cushion, but it's your whole life. People can meditate, and then if you go to the store and someone looks at you the wrong way and then you snap, I'm sorry, the practice is actually slowing down your mind enough, slowing yourself down enough that when you walk out during the day, you walk with that that calm and that peace, and something happens, you understand, okay, that person's having a bad day. Sometimes
Mm.
I have bad days. Can I be compassionate towards that person? And yes, some days that's really hard, but it's understanding that the meditation practice is how you relate to your friends and your family and your coworkers. That's the important practice.
So it's a meditation in daily life, basically, the deep integration of your presence, of your mindfulness and your awareness, so that you can really relate to life from the space of peace. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really can't say enough how challenging these times are. They're really putting all of us underneath the microscope. For me, anyway, I've just felt that we're really being shown this mirror of our own aspects of ourselves that we each need to work on in order to find wholeness within ourselves. And in that way, find wholeness as a humanity. But it's not easy. It's uncomfortable to look at ourselves and to see those parts of ourselves that we don't like. So it's a challenge, but from my point of view, meditation is really the the key point that, and you don't have to use the word meditation. It's also called mindfulness or presence or
Prayer.
simply staying with your breath.
Yeah. Staying with your breath. I love that. What I really want to unfold a little bit more, if you don't mind, is when you said that using meditation, you can really find that wholeness inside of yourself. So let's look into that a little bit more. How can we practice meditation to really connect to that wholeness inside of yourself? And how does it feel when you really get into that space of feeling your wholeness? What is that about? Because some people don't even know what we mean by that. So let's just unpack it a little bit, if you don't mind.
So, in a quick unpack, we have difficult traumatic experiences that happen to us. Some may not be so traumatic, some people it's more traumatic. But when we're children, we don't have the capacity to hold pain and to express ourselves freely. So the easiest way that we deal is we connect from parts of ourselves, or we disconnect from parts of ourselves, and we hold those emotions inside our body,
Mhm.
and we hold repressed emotions and physiologically hold this energetic charge in our body.
Right.
So sitting in stillness has a lot to do with, if you will, I like to think of the idea of expanding the circumference of our hearts and of our awareness to hold all of us, all of the parts of us. And simply by creating a safe space,
Mhm.
we allow those emotions to arise and to be noticed.
Mhm.
So if there's fear, anxiety, or sadness, understanding that those are human emotions and those are the language of our
Yeah.
soul.
Mhm. Mhm.
And by bringing them into our awareness as an adult, we have that capacity to hold them now, like
Mm-hmm.
holding a young child.
Yeah, embracing.
And turning towards them, acknowledging them, and all of this happens within the meditation. We have that power. So incredible to heal ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that turning towards ourselves with kindness and holding this pain is in fact how we integrate the pain and find wholeness.
Wow. Yeah. I love that because I remember, when I was doing this for myself, deep healing through the meditation processes and integrating the aspects of me that were left behind or left aside and they were screaming for my attention and love. I always felt disjointed. I always felt that I'm not congruent inside of myself and not whole. It was always like a little hole inside of myself. No matter what I was doing, I needed to do more of addiction, more of crazy behaviors, just to fill in that gap. And the moment you begin integrating those feelings or those emotions that are left behind and holding them, you beautifully said it, holding them like a little child, then you become more congruent. You become integrating from inside out, and you become more whole, meaning more present in yourself, right?
Yeah, and it's also uh, referred to now. I like the term alchemize.
Mm-hmm.
So
Me too. Yeah.
understanding what is so powerful is that it's precisely in our in the pain that we hold within ourselves, precisely in those parts of ourselves that we may have been avoiding for decades, that
Mm-hmm.
that is the catalyst. Those areas are the catalyst for our own transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So as much effort as we put into running away from our pain,
Mm-hmm.
when we make a decision to meet it with our presence and
Mm-hmm.
hold it with our awareness,
Mm-hmm.
there's something really magical that happens. And just with all of this, light frequency I'm feeling now coming down on the earth, we can do this healing in spontaneously. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take 5 years, 10 years. If you have a strong intention and you stay focused on your healing,
Mm-hmm.
it can go very quickly, which
Mm-hmm.
is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's creating that space of safety
Mm-hmm.
so that you can find areas of yourself that need struggling, wounds that need healing, and
Yeah.
to understand that you have the capacity to heal yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love alchemizing as well. And I think that now is the time when the frequencies are rising so high on the planet that we are blessed with that presence so that we can use this as an opportunity for us to literally alchemize and fast track our healing if we give it space, time, attention,
Yeah. And
And, yeah, yeah.
sorry, I just wanted to say that
Mm,
um, ultimately,
mm,
this is because it can be misunderstood sometimes, the spiritual path as being egotistical,
mm,
self-centered, whatever.
mhm,
Um, the the prayer
mhm,
is that we each integrate, find our inner alignment, so that
mhm,
when we are aligned, we have that openness and compassionate part of ourselves that opens to others to radiate our
mhm,
presence and to help others that also are looking, that are also, awakening as well, because
right,
it's not to get stuck in the pain, it's to see that it's there, it's to hold it, it's to alchemize it so that
right,
then we have the strength and the power. We realize that we have this inner power, that
mhm,
we're not reliant on, systems and governments and whatever. Not, we it gives us this freedom and this uh,
sovereignty.
sovereignty. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Not to be reliant, to really kind of initiate that sovereignty inside of ourselves and to know that we do have a power. But for us to experience that power, we have to integrate and become whole. Because I'm noticing in myself or in the people that I'm collaborating and coaching and working with, unless that inner work is done, of integration and you becoming the whole again, it's difficult to hold your power because it will leak. It will not be
Totally.
in your energy, right?
I can tell you, I have my PhD in spiritual bypassing. I maintained two different lives for many years, and until I really turned towards myself and saw my addictive behaviors,
Yeah.
owned my own triggers,
Mhm.
was I really able to walk the talk, as
Yeah.
opposed to having these lofty ideas and this is the way it's supposed to be. That's still up all in the head. Embodiment is the key word of the year
Yeah.
of 2021. It's embodiment. We are spiritual beings in a physical body, and in order to come into our bodies, we need to be grounded and find our voice, find our truth, and walk the talk.
Yeah.
Walk the talk.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you embody yourself in your full presence by becoming whole,
Yeah.
you can then walk your talk. And what
Yeah.
we were talking about, one of the ways to do this, it's meditation, but also using the energies that are rising or coming to this planet right now to alchemize it so that
Yeah.
you can be in the meditation practice. And as you are in there, you are using what is coming to you to transform, to integrate, to alchemize, to heal parts of you in order for you to be whole.
And
And
I
then you can hold your power and sovereignty, right? Go ahead. Sorry.
exactly. But I really would like to destigmatize the word meditation. It's not like you have to sit on a
Mm.
fancy cushion and with
Yeah.
your hands like this. It's, you know, it can be 5 minutes, it can be 2 minutes, it can be 1 minute, but
Mhm.
it's taking the time to, I really like to use the connection with my hands. So just putting your hands together, putting your hands on your heart, on your belly,
Yeah.
turning inwards and simply finding your breath and feeling the feelings, getting to this, getting habituated to uh, listen deeply within. And when you can listen in deeply to what you're going through and own it and acknowledge it, hold it, and then nurture, nurture, then you're more present with others. And when they're listening, and when they're speaking, you're really listening. You're not judging or analyzing or thinking about what you're going to say next. You're fully there. And that is very powerful healing that we need to give to one another. We need to be validated and heard, not necessarily give advice to people,
Yeah.
but listen. I'd like to give a course on listening. I listening within and then listening to others. It's really a gift that we cultivate.
Yeah. Yeah. More to come. So let's unfold that course in listening within and listening out others. I'm more than behind you around that because in coaching universe, one of these core competencies of relating with people, it's your ability to know how to listen. But you first again need to learn how to listen to yourself and then listen to others. And I'm also loving it that you're demystifying meditation because it should not be mystified. It should not be a practice that demands you to be doing something that doesn't feel natural to you. So if meditation to you, it's sitting on a cushion, great. But if meditation for you, it's walking with a dog, amazing. If meditation is being by the sea, being in the clouds, skiing, doing the sport, some people really get into the deeper state of connection by practicing, certain discipline. It's all meditation. That inner connection is important, right?
Totally. It can be looking at the fire.
Yeah.
It can be, writing and journaling, dancing,
Yeah. Dancing. Yes.
getting to the place. It is where you put your attention.
True.
And if you're putting your attention into the present moment, into what you're doing, cooking or gardening,
Yeah.
that is a meditation. It's where do you resource yourself? Do you have the capacity to resource yourself, to recharge, and to realign and to listen, to what you truly resonate with. And understanding that you have a choice. If you don't resonate with something, you have a choice to speak up and say, this isn't working for me. And creating boundaries for ourselves is very important as well. And it's little changes like that where we find that alignment that we were speaking about. So meditation is a tool, but there's a lot of ways to find this inner resonance, inner divine resonance. I like to call it the
inner
divine resonance.
So we leave you up with this. One of the challenges that we're giving to our listeners, and it's good to challenge them as well, is to work and to play, to find this inner divine resonance through the meditation practices, to get inspired, to become holistic, to become whole, integrated, and to get into their power so that it can fully alchemize and transform anything that needs to be transformed and alchemized at this moment in time, in order for us to emerge as this new version of humanity that we really want to become in 2021. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us or joining me today. More to come. I'm sure that we're going to record more. People love our conversations, so let's keep on doing that. And I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Anything you would love to share just to close up from your end?
I just want to say you're a wonderful listener, Zoran. You are the best listener. I mean, really, if everybody listened the way you do, you got it. I love talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love listening to you because you have a lot to share, and this is an honor and privilege to do that. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, for listening to this channel. Enjoy more to come next year, with much more exciting stuff. Maybe we'll do this profound class with listening inside and outside. Let's see how the reality unfolds. Lots of love to everybody, and bye for now.